In this video, I want to talk about the wait node. It's a simple little node that doesn't seem to do much other than cause your workflows to take longer. But sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you have a process going on that maybe you're uploading a video or a file somewhere, and it actually takes some time for that video or file to be processed by the service that you're uploading it to. Well, in those situations, you don't want to just go and start continuing on your process and having it, pulling in the information and the download link and all that happening immediately because it's not done processing yet. If it's not done processing yet, you're just going to get an error. Nothing's going to work. And you're just going to get this frustration trying to figure out, why doesn't my workflow work? Well, by using a wait node, you're going to be able to set a timer essentially that tells your workflow, hold on, give it a second, let's go ahead and let things take their course, and then we'll continue on. So the node itself is just wait. You just come up here, you type in wait, grab a wait node, all right? And inside of it, you have a couple different options. And here is your resume. So what is your resume condition? What is it that it's waiting for in order to be able to continue? So your options are after a time interval. So basically you just set a timer and it waits that amount of time. You wait until a specified time. So what you do is you would set it so that it's going to continue. Maybe you have a schedule trigger. It starts your workflow at 10 a.m. in the morning, and then it does some amount of process, but then it's going to wait until 10:05. Or 10:20 or whatever. It's going to do some amount of process, but then it's going to wait to finish the rest of the process until a certain amount of time. You can wait until it receives a webhook call. All right. And so that is where maybe another workflow gets operated on, and maybe it's waiting for something from another website in order to continue. So you would set up your workflow, do some amount of work, and then send off maybe an HTTP request post node somewhere that's going to have something do it on a website, and then it's going to wait for a webhook back in order to be able to hear back that the thing has been completed, and then it would move on forward. Or it can even do a wait on a form submission, so that it's you have your process, it then opens up a form. Maybe it's as an example, a human in the loop process that you just have it sit there and wait for that human in the loop form to be returned, and then it continues. The one I'm going to mostly spend my time on is on after time interval, because this is the one I spend my most time using within my workflows. And so you have two options here. You have a wait amount. The wait amount is the number of units that you're going to wait. And then the wait unit down here is just the amount of time. So you can wait seconds, days, hours, or minutes. Or seconds, minutes, hours, days. All right. And it literally will just wait that much time. So if I have it set to 5 seconds, it's just going to wait 1,000, 2, 1,000, and so on until 5, and then it's going to continue on. All right, and so here, let me just kind of show you the process that I have in another workflow that I just kind of cropped out really quick to show you. So what this one does is it's a part of a larger workflow. Where the click trigger would be, I would have a node that uploads a video to a service. I then have a wait trigger, and the wait trigger is currently set to 5 minutes. And so it's going to wait for 5 minutes for that video to process. It's then going to do a GET request for that service using my ID and my authorizations for all that. And it's checking to see whether or not I have a download URL. Basically, is the process complete, and is it ready for me to now go ahead and use that video in the rest of my workflow? If not, so if it's false and I don't have that download URL, it just circles back around, back to the wait node. It's going to wait another 5 minutes for it to process. Then it's going to do another check, and then it's going to check again. If it's there, it then continues on the process and then has my workflow continue. And this is generally what I see most people doing when it comes to having their wait nodes within their workflows. It's the most simple option that you can have for it. There are other options like I talked about, but this is the one that you're most likely going to be using, because you're going to have circumstances where you have uploaded something and you now need to wait. Or maybe I see this one all the time. Maybe when I'm uploading something to Google Drive, immediately thereafter, after I've uploaded it to Google Drive, I need the data from that upload, maybe like the ID. Well, as soon as it gets uploaded, literally the next moment after it has been uploaded, that data is not quite ready yet to pull. Now, it's going to be there in a second or two because Google's really fast. But, within that first second or two, the data has not yet populated within Google's system. And so I would need a wait node before I can then get the ID from it, using like a GET node or a pull node or a download or something from Google Drive. I would just do like a 2-second timer, a 2-second wait timer between the two nodes, uploads it, waits 2 seconds, and then I'm able to get that data off of it and then move forward. So wait nodes, super helpful little node. Not too many people understand that it has this power to be able to allow your workflows to just have that breathing room that they need in order to be able to operate correctly. Sometimes you just can't just rush through everything. You have to consider, hey, I uploaded something, I need a moment. Or maybe you just want to wait. As an example, these nodes are pretty cool because you don't have to have just a number here. You can actually have an expression. So I'll often have these for a progressive or an exponential backoff system. So if I'm using an API and I'm worried that maybe my rate limits are starting to get close to where they're going to block me, or if I have hit my rate limit, I can have a code node generate an amount of time that then runs through a wait node using an expression. So I would just have some sort of like JSON dot wait, and then have a code node before it that generates that time, and then it would wait that number of units, and oftentimes it'd be like minutes. Wait that number of minutes, try again. If you get that error again, you just have maybe like an edit field node that would then set your number of turns and how many times you've been through. Come back to the code node. The code node sees that, oh, we're now on our second pass through. It then exponentially increases the amount of time that it's going to wait. It generates that number, passes it to the wait node. Now it's going to wait even longer, and so on and so forth until it eventually either moves forward or errors out. That way you're not necessarily bashing your head against your rate limits and causing yourself some issues on the back end. So really nifty node. Hopefully this is one that you get to use soon. And if you think this is going to be helpful for you, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like and share the video. It really does help. Looking to take your AI development further with more tutorials and free n8n workflows? Simply click the link in the description below to go to our free school community, where you can find many more AI and n8n tutorials, as well as all of our starter workflows that will allow you to start building AI tools directly into your business. And if you're serious about building AI automation tools into your business using n8n, be sure to check out our Advanced community, where we give new tools each week that will actually make a difference in your business. This is where we keep all of our exclusive tools and resources for committed business owners looking to ride this AI wave. In addition, you'll get direct access to me to help you through your setup and tech issues, our business building course library, and so much more. And as always, I'm Bradford Carlton. Let's automate your success together.